The Houston Rockets just lost in 7 games to the Golden State Warriors, and I did have the Houston Rockets winning this series in the first round. I'm definitely going to take this one on the chin. If you don't believe me, go back and listen to the video 2 weeks ago, my prediction and preview video. I even had the Houston Rockets coming back from a 3-1, which is crazy. I know. Shout out to the Golden State Warriors for taking care of business. It's a lot of things to talk about the Houston Rockets moving forward. And the first player I want to talk about is Jaylen Green. Jaylen Green did not have a good series. Jaylen Green only had one good game. That was it. This is a player that averaged 21 points a game. Now, I'm not going to come on here and say that Jaylen Green's a scrub. Get rid of him. Jaylen Green averaged 21 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3.4 assists, shot 42% from the field in the regular season. In the playoffs, this time around, this is his first time in the playoffs. This is the first time the Houston Rockets have been back to the postseason since 2020. In Game 2, he had 38 points. Besides that, he was a non-factor. In Game 1, he had 7 points. He shot 3 of 15 from the field. Game 3, 9 points, 4 of 11 from the field. Game 4, 8 points, 3 of 8 from the field. Game 5, 11 points, 3 of 8 from the field. Game 6, 12 points, 3 of 11 from the field. And they won Game 6 and Game 5 mostly because of Fred VanVleet. He was able to go out there and get crazy from 3. And Jaylen Green is not known for his defense. You may trade him this offseason to possibly bring in a player like Kevin Durant. Just be on lookout for that. I still like Jaylen Green. He has to be more consistent. The one thing that bothers me is his inconsistent play, even in the regular season. He'll have games that make you say, you know what? He could be the best offensive player on the Houston Rockets. And then the next night, you'll say, why is he even getting this many minutes in the first place? He'll have a game where he scores 30 points in the matchup. Then the next night, he may go 2 of 15 from the field. He's a very streaky player on the offensive end. And it made life hell for him when he was having to get matched up against Draymond and Jimmy Butler. The reason why he went off in Game 2, he was just settling for 3-point shots. And he was hitting those 3-point shots at a high clip. Over and over and over again. So it sucks to see that he did not have the big time moments in the first matchup against the Golden State Warriors in 7 games. But we've seen young players in the past. They'll have terrible moments. As they grow and progress as players, they get better. And I wasn't one of those analysts that was coming on here and saying this. They're going to lose because they don't have the veteranship. You have Dillon Brooks, who is technically a veteran coming over from the Memphis Grizzlies. He has playoff experience. Ime Udoka, your head coach, has been to an NBA Finals before with the Boston Celtics many years ago, oddly enough, against the Golden State Warriors. And we'll talk about the matchup with Stephen Curry in the next few minutes. Then you also have Fred VanVleet, who was crucial down the stretch. Game 1 and Game 2, he did not perform very well. As the season progressed, he performed better. And that's what you want to see, especially in the 7-game series against older players like Jimmy Butler, Draymond, and Stephen Curry. Fred VanVleet was going crazy from 3 in Game 5 and Game 6. Game 7, he did cool off. And the double big lineup did not work out with the Houston Rockets in Game 7. They tried to go back to the double big lineup. Draymond Green hit 2 threes. And what happens is when you run that double big lineup, you can run certain zone coverages. You don't have to go out there and worry about offensive players getting to the rim. You have Steven Adams, you have Şengün. The problem is this. There was a huge lap in their defense. In the first half, they shut out Stephen Curry. He only had 3 points. In the second half, Stephen Curry heated up. Not only that, Jimmy Butler started to perform. Then you have Buddy Hield. Of all players, you talk about Jaylen Green being inconsistent. Buddy Hield, Mr. Inconsistent himself, 33 points. And he was 9 of 11 from 3. He was scorching hot from 3. And they did not go out there and make immediate adjustments until late in the third quarter. At that point in time, it was too late. Now you're focused in on Buddy Hield. You still have to worry about Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry went on an 8-0 run by himself. And he had 10 rebounds. So now you have Stephen Curry. He's moving around. He's running around. Fred VanVleet is trying to get him. Draymond Green setting screens. It was one play. Stephen Curry's top of the key. Buddy Hield's running back and forth. He goes over to the corner. Stephen Curry moves around. Wide open Buddy Hield. Those 2 seconds were crucial. He hits the 3. Moments like that really hurt you in this Game 7. And you didn't have enough time to go out there and try to match that offensive intensity. Because let's just be real here. And I said this even when I picked the Houston Rockets. Their half-court offense is a major problem. You don't have the playmakers that the Golden State Warriors have. The defensive game plan made sense early on. So they take out Steven Adams. And the part of the reason why you did that, Jaylen Green hit those 2 threes. He's now rotating to the rim. And he's finishing at the rim. And the one thing with Jaylen Green, he's so annoying, especially if you're a Houston Rockets fan, he's going to give the rest of the team energy. And that's what happened. And then you have Jimmy Butler one-on-one, killing you from the mid-range, killing you from 3 over and over again. It was terrible to see. A lot of that came down to coaching, but they tried their best. For the first 3 quarters, the Houston Rockets played solid defense, but late into the 4th quarter, they let it get away from them. And back to the offense here, Jaylen Green, man, that half-court setting, in terms of him not making the right pass, settling for jump shots, you can't have that with him. You have to coach that out of him. In the regular season, he had moments like that. Fred VanVleet, he's a true point guard. He's going to have the basketball in his hands. Even Fred VanVleet, he was looking confused at times. So what do? They go back to the breadbasket. We'll get to Sengun over and over again. And shout out to Sengun. In my opinion, he had a very good series. In Game 7, he shot a 3. He was 9 of 23 from the field. He had 21 points, 14 rebounds. He stepped up today. Ahmed Thompson, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. He was dealing with a leg injury in the 3rd quarter, but he was able to finish out the game. And I like Ahmed Thompson. That's a very good building block player right there. Dylan Brooks was 3 of 9 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. Dylan Brooks did not have the great series on the offensive end. But when we all look at Dylan Brooks, we don't expect for him to average 20 to 25 points in a series. Dylan Brooks is known for playing very good defense. And he had a career year this year playing from the 3-point line and just from the offensive line in general. He's not able to have those dominant games, but his defense was felt in one-on-one situations with Stephen Curry and the same with Jimmy Butler. When the Houston Rockets really lost the series is when Jimmy Butler went down with that back injury and they could not take advantage of that injury. That's when the Houston Rockets let the series get away from them. It is hard as hell, especially if you're a young team, even if you're a veteran team, to come back from a 3-1. They almost did. We have to give them credit for winning the last 2 games. But in Game 7, they looked tired. They weren't focused. The energy was there on defense, but on offense, they were just completely frustrated. It was Sengun, and who else can come out here and help me besides Fred VanVleet? And VanVleet in Game 7, 17.7 rebounds, 3 assists. He didn't have a terrible game, but he didn't have a game like how he had in Game 5 and Game 6. But I'm mostly disappointed in Jaylen Green. Jabari Smith was 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3 in Game 7. I look at Jabari Smith, solid bench player. I don't think that Ime Udoka sees him as a true superstar moving forward, but he gives you a lot of good value. Very good, big defensive body, and he can stretch the 3 on a consistent basis in the regular season. You may see a package this offseason that involves Jabari Smith and Jaylen Green shipped off to a team like the Phoenix Suns to possibly bring in someone like a Kevin Durant. And if you're one of those fans that are saying, hell, I don't want Kevin Durant, just hear me out for a second. He is still one of the best offensive players you can have. He would fit in very nicely in the middle of this team on offense and defense. And a lot of the problems that you're having on the offensive end right now, he could come in and he could fix just like that. He's still a terrific 3-point shooter, a very good mid-range scorer, and he can get to the rim on a consistent basis. And he can create his own shot. He would be a great player to have in the middle of this offense and with their defense. Kevin Durant is not known for his defense, but he's a long, lanky body, and you have good defenders around him that can match those problems. Steven Adams is an unrestricted free agent. They'll possibly bring him back. That double big lineup against most teams in the NBA, except for the Golden State Warriors, it works out against. You out-rebounded the Golden State Warriors again. You just got hit with Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, and Stephen Curry. And Draymond Green also had his points when it mattered the most. But that double big lineup was very effective with Ime Udoka this year in terms of having more rebounds and more offensive opportunities. But I look at Sengun. That's the star player right now. He should be off the table. Him and Ahmed Thompson. And when I look at Thompson, the 3-point shot is not there. The mid-range shot isn't there either. But he can cut to the rim. His athletic ability is insane. When he was switching over on Stephen Curry's like, please give me a screen. They'll switch over. They'll give him a screen. He will still fight through the screen and just go out there and script the ball away from Stephen Curry. And he did the same thing on Jimmy Butler. He's a versatile defender. He's the definition of a 1-4 defender that can guard point guards or power forwards. He's a phenomenal defensive player, especially on the perimeter. You have to keep him around with Şengün, keep Steven Adams. Fred VanVleet does have a player option for $44 million. More than likely, he will accept that deal. And Fred VanVleet is not a bad basketball player. They just did not have enough firepower to beat the Golden State Warriors. This series basically came down to this. A team that did not take advantage of the fact that their star player was out and Jimmy Butler dealing with that back injury at that point in time, and the fact that their half-court offense wasn't good enough. And once again, Ime Udoka gets outcoached by Steve Kerr. You hate to see it. And I know if you're a Rockets fan, you're not pissed off that you lost to the Golden State Warriors. You're pissed off that you lost to Stephen Curry yet again. This man has become the definition of a walking nightmare if you're a Houston Rockets fan. He did the same thing to Chris Paul and James Harden, even though Chris Paul went down with an injury. But just throughout over the last few years when the Houston Rockets have been in the playoffs, Stephen Curry's always there to just ruin the fun. But shout out to the Golden State Warriors. You're never going to get me on here to say the Golden State Warriors don't deserve to win. They suck. They're a very good, talented basketball team. They're definitely on the tail end of their run with Stephen Curry. He's getting older. There is no shame in the Houston Rockets losing to the Golden State Warriors in the first round. You lost in 7 games. You had the second best record in the Western Conference. This was your first playoff appearance since 2020. This is a completely different team than how they looked with Coach Silas many years ago. And he was not a good head coach. You have a lot of good talent that you can hang on to or move off of. In the regular season, you'll be fine. But in order to get over that hump in the postseason, you have to go through losses like this, unfortunately. I really want to see them make that trade for Kevin Durant. Bring him over to the Houston Rockets. You can ship off Jaylen Green if you want to. And I'm really not trying to make this a I hate Jaylen Green video. He's the main reason to why they lost against the Golden State Warriors. But when you average 21 points in the regular season, and you only have one game to where you scored over 38, to where you only scored 38 points, and the rest of the games you're below average, and you're just settling for threes on a repeated basis, that's not good for Jaylen Green. He had a lot of wide open opportunities. He just didn't pull the trigger. But the culture with the Houston Rockets is definitely being built right now with Coach Udoka. Play strong defense, go out there and figure out their half-court setting. That's it. For a team that had the second best record in the Western Conference, it was so weird. Due to the fact that their half-court offense was average at best, and when it was bad, it was at the bottom of the league in terms of just scoring efficiency. But the Houston Rockets, they'll be okay. But let me know in the comment section below, what should the Houston Rockets do in the future, and how do you feel about the current state of this organization? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. And they do have other young players. You have Cam Whitmore. You have Reed Sheppard. Before I let you guys go, Reed Sheppard, they selected him highly in the first round. He's a top 3 pick. Reed Sheppard is a very good player. I like Reed Sheppard a lot. Did not play much in the postseason, which was expected. Reed Sheppard is only 20 years old. But there's a lot of potential there. Defensively, not so much. But on the offensive end, he may be a good player. You can also ship him off. Cam Whitmore is the one person I actually do feel bad for. Cam Whitmore is 20 years old. He got into the doghouse early on with Coach Udoka. Hopefully next season, they use him more. If they don't, trade him away. He's 6'7". He has a lot of potential in the NBA. He may never be a superstar, but you need to give him playing time for him to get better. And if that's not going to happen in the Houston Rockets, because evidently, and it shows right now, they want to win the championship, and they're in championship mode right now. So a lot of those young players, you're not going to get the chance to go out there and truly develop. Reed Sheppard's a different case because he's a guard. If you move on from Jaylen Green, you slide him into the lineup, and hopefully he can be a very good player. And your defense is going to take a step back, but you have good defenders on your team. You have a very good defensive system. As far as Cam Whitmore, he needs that development and that time right now because he's only 20 years old. There's a lot of upside there. I can see a team like the Miami Heat just looking at him and saying, you know what, give him to us. Or even a team like the Phoenix Suns. You could put him in the trade to possibly bring in Kevin Durant. But most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.